The crazy story of Dark Ruler Hades versus the Dark King of the Abyss in Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Ruler Hades is the king of the underworld, just like Hades, where his name comes from. He gained this title by usurping the Dark King of the Abyss, whose flavor text reads that it used to be the king of the Netherworld. We even see Dark Ruler Hades gaining the throne and demoting the Dark King in the card art for demotion. And now usurped by Hades, the Dark King now serves as an abyssal designator in charge of deciding where souls go to in the Netherworld. But the Dark King was not happy with this position and plotted to gain the throne back, but that would not be an easy feat. Because Hades possessed many powers like the ability to control minds, and shoot lightning from his finger capable of completely decimating foes. Hades even specializes in soul manipulation, and controls a large army of many different minions. So if the Dark King was going to take back the throne, he needed to do it in a very clever way. To accomplish his goal, the Dark King played into Hades' ego, offering his allegiance and even giving him a gift. But this was no ordinary gift and was instead a dark magical device meant to destroy Hades. This device was capable of stealing the strength from powerful creatures and did just that to Hades. And as Hades crumpled to the ground, his power being drained, the Dark King dealt the final blow and became once again the king of the Netherworld. That was until the Plague Spreader zombie did exactly what its name implied and spread a zombie-causing plague across the land. A plague that would enter Hades' corpse, summoning him from the ground as the revived King Hades. And in this form, Hades was possibly more powerful than before, now able to raise monsters from the grave like the Archfiend Zombie Skull. And with his skeleton army and his increased powers, Hades would once again usurp the Dark King, this time crushing him for good. If there's one thing about revenge, it's that the cycle is never truly broken, so the Dark Ruler would rise once again, but how? Well, at this point, nobody knew how the Dark Ruler rose again, not even the Dark Ruler himself, but he had bigger issues. Because as he emerged from the ground, that's an important detail, he was instantly met with the skeleton army of Hades. And at this point, the Dark King had learned his lesson, and instead of trying to outpower Hades, he instead used his abilities. He did this by beating Hades at his own game by taking the soul from his body. And after once again vanquishing his foe, he taunted him by showing him his own soul, before using Hades' own soul to blast him away once and for all. But this story is not over, because everything we've just talked about in this story was actually orchestrated by an ancient evil long forgotten. Before this time of Hades and the Dark Ruler, the first true king of horror was the Archfiend Emperor. Just like Hades and the Dark Ruler, this monster was usurped a long time ago, and ever since then was plotting in the underworld to exact revenge. And it was actually he who revived the Dark Ruler as the final part of his plan to resurrect himself and take the throne. And he did just that, bursting forth from the ground where he had just revived the Dark Ruler, crushing him and truly proving that the cycle of revenge never ends.